Hello. You are listening to The X-Files by Trevor Shelby. Copyright Trevor Shelby. Make sure to subscribe, and when we get new episodes, you'll be the first to know.
Chapter 4. The X-Files are born. The kitchen looked like a crime scene at 11:03 p.m., and I was the sole investigator assigned to clean it up. 50 wine glasses scattered across counters like wounded soldiers. Plates smeared with Charles's excellent tiramisu that everyone thought was mine. The Waterford crystal bowl. Karen's wedding gift that I wasn't allowed to put in the dishwasher. Sat sticky with cocktail sauce, mocking me from the island. Some people are meant to shine, others to help them shine. Brad's words echoed with each dish I scraped, each surface I wiped. My cocktail dress, the one that cost more than most people's rent, was now decorated with splashes of marinara and what might have been red wine. Or blood from where I'd bitten my lip to keep from screaming. I moved through the kitchen mechanically, my body knowing the motions even as my mind replayed the evening's humiliation on a loop. Harrison's wife's pitying look. Jennifer's genuine admiration for my Cleo turning into awkwardness when Brad diminished it to something cute. The way the entire room had gone silent. Everyone recognizing cruelty, but too polite to name it. The living room needed attention too. Abandoned cocktail napkins, someone's forgotten scarf, the indent in the leather chair where Harrison had held court. I straightened cushions with the precision Brad demanded, each pillow placed exactly parallel to the sofa's edge. The bar area was a disaster. Sticky rings on the mahogany, bottles turned every which way instead of labels facing forward. $1,800 worth of alcohol. And for what? So Brad could publicly diminish me, while everyone got drunk enough to pretend not to notice. The grandfather clock in the hallway chimed 11:30. I'd been cleaning for 90 minutes, and the house was almost back to its museum-quality sterility. Just the kitchen floor to mop, the good glasses to hand wash, the serving platters to... I paused at the bottom of the stairs. Brad had disappeared up there an hour ago, right after delivering his cold judgment about discussing my behaviour. No sound from our bedroom, no light under the door. I should check on him, the obedient wife in me whispered. Make sure he's okay. I climbed the stairs, each one a small betrayal of my screaming instincts to run. The hallway stretched before me, our bedroom door slightly ajar. Through the gap, I could see the faint blue glow of his phone charger. I pushed the door open wider, and there he was. Brad lay sprawled across his side of the bed, still in his dress shirt and trousers, shoes kicked off but otherwise fully clothed. His mouth hung open, and on the nightstand. The amber prescription bottle sat there, cap off, pills visible. Ambien, his nightly escape hatch from the stress of being such a successful, important man. The label caught the phone charger's light. Take 1 tablet by mouth at bedtime as needed for sleep. He'd taken at least 2. I could tell by the spacing of the remaining pills, the way he always took extra after a social event, claiming he needed to decompress from performing. Performing. Like he was the one who'd been on display, critiqued, found wanting. Something inside me snapped. Not dramatically, not violently, just a quiet severing, like the last thread of a rope giving way. He got to just check out, drug himself into oblivion while I cleaned up his mess, scrubbed dishes in a $1,000 dress, erased evidence of the party where he'd publicly humiliated me. He got to sleep peacefully while I stood here, shaking with suppressed rage, my feet screaming in heels I hadn't been allowed to take off yet. The unfairness of it hit me like cold water. 7 years of this. 7 years of him creating disasters. Emotional, social, practical, then medicating himself to avoid the aftermath, while I stayed conscious, stayed responsible, stayed here to clean up. I stared at his sleeping form, so vulnerable, so unguarded, his perfect hair mussed against the pillow. That controlled expression finally relaxed into something almost human. If I didn't know better, I might think he looked innocent. 2 pills, I calculated. He'll be out until at least 6 a.m. The thought arrived fully formed, dangerous in its simplicity. I could leave. Right now, he'd never know. But first, I walked to his study, my movements suddenly purposeful instead of defeated. The liquor cabinet sat there, full of his precious bottles, the ones he brought out only for important people. The Macallan 18 held pride of place, the one he'd specifically demanded for Harrison, then made me feel stupid for not psychically knowing to buy it. $400 of liquid arrogance. Some people are meant to shine, I whispered to his unconscious form, and some people are meant to steal their good whiskey while they're drugged. I changed quickly in the guest room. Yoga pants, his old Northwestern sweatshirt that he'd tried to throw away. Comfort clothes. Escape clothes. I kept the cocktail dress on underneath for evidence of the evening's crime, but the soft cotton over it felt like armor. My phone buzzed. Lena. You okay? My spidey sense is tingling. I looked at the bottles in my hands, at Brad's study where his perfect life was documented in diplomas and awards, at the hallway leading to where he slept off his cruelty. I typed back, "No, I'm really not." Her response was immediate. "On my way. Brad's here. Then meet me tomorrow. Lunch. We need to talk about those options." I stood there for a full minute, weighing my choices. Stay and finish cleaning. Pretend tomorrow that everything was fine, that I hadn't stood in the kitchen holding a knife and imagining. Or, I grabbed my purse, shoved my phone inside and headed for the door. Not the front door. Too visible. The back door, the one that led through the garden, Brad never tended but demanded look perfect. The night air hit my face, cold and sharp and real. I pulled up the Uber app, set the pickup location for the corner, not our house. As I walked down our perfect street with stolen whiskey clutched against my chest, I felt something shift. I wasn't cleaning anymore. I wasn't obeying anymore. I was leaving, and for the first time in 7 years, Brad wouldn't know where I was, what I was doing, or when I'd be back. The Uber arrived. A Honda with a driver who didn't care why a woman in yoga pants over a cocktail dress was carrying expensive whiskey through Rosewood Heights at 11:45 p.m. As we pulled away from my perfect neighborhood, I didn't look back. Behind me, Brad slept on, unaware that his wife had just committed her first act of theft. It wouldn't be her last. The Macallan 18 weighed more than a newborn. 8 pounds of liquid rebellion clutched against the Northwestern sweatshirt as I stood outside Lena's apartment door at 12:17 p.m. My heels were killing me. Each step from the Uber to her second-floor walk-up a small torture. Mascara had carved rivers down my cheeks, probably making me look like a raccoon who'd lost a bar fight. But I didn't care. Not anymore. $400, I thought, staring at the bottle. $400 of Brad's precious whiskey. He'll notice it's gone by morning. He'll probably file a police report. I knocked, or tried to. It came out more like desperate scratching. The door flew open, and there stood Lena in all her glory. Ratty pajama pants with "Snitches get stitches" printed down one leg, an oversized Selena t-shirt with holes in all the wrong places, her purple streaked hair piled in a chaotic bun that defied gravity and possibly several laws of physics. She took one look at me, the smeared makeup, the stolen whiskey, the $1,000 dress that felt like a straitjacket, and didn't say a word, just grabbed my wrist and pulled me inside. "Jesus, Mary and Jose," she muttered, slamming the door behind us. "You look like you escaped from a telenovela, the tragic kind where everyone dies." Her apartment was exactly what I needed. Organised chaos that made sense only to her. Sophia's artwork covered every available wall space, like colourful accusations against beige walls. Crayon drawings of dragons wearing tutus. A watercolour family portrait where Jason was notably absent, replaced by a dog they didn't own. The dining table had become a staging ground for hair supplies. Bottles of dye that looked like potions, scissors that could definitely be weapons, and a mannequin head wearing a wig that somehow looked judgmental. My eyes landed on the windowsill, where a dead succulent sat in a pot with a label maker tag reading BRAD. Last month's therapy session, when I'd bought it just to watch it die. "It's still dead," I said stupidly. "Unlike the real Brad, unfortunately." Lena guided me to her couch, which was really just a love seat that had seen better decades. "Sit." Collapse. Whatever your body needs to do. I sank into the cushions, still clutching the Macallan like a life preserver. I stole his whiskey. The good stuff. He's going to catalogue this theft in a spreadsheet. There'll be formulas calculating the depreciation of trust. Good. We're drinking every drop. Lena's eyes gleamed with dangerous approval. But first, she dropped to her knees and grabbed my right foot, yanking off the heel with unnecessary force. Foot. Prisons. Gone. The left shoe followed, both flying across the room to land near a basket of clean laundry that had probably been there since Tuesday. "Oh God," I moaned, my feet touching her carpet. Scratchy, probably needed vacuuming. Absolutely perfect. That's better than sex. Or what I remember of sex. Brad schedules it monthly, like a dental cleaning. And that's why we're drinking his whiskey. Lena disappeared into her kitchen, which was really just a corner of the living room separated by a counter. I could hear her banging around, muttering in Spanish. "Tell me everything. Start with why you look like you committed murder, but forgot to hide the body." The story poured out while she worked. Brad's PowerPoint tendencies. The way he diminished my Clio award to a cute little campaign. That devastating line. Some people are meant to shine, others to help them shine. He actually said that? Lena emerged with 2 glasses that didn't match. One from a casino, one with Dora the Explorer on it. Out loud? In front of humans? In front of his entire firm, including Harrison's wife, who looked at me like I was a rescued shelter dog. I accepted the Dora glass, watched her pour 3 fingers of Macallan. And then this detective showed up. A detective? Lena's eyebrows shot toward her hairline. Did someone finally report Brad for being criminally boring? Noise, complaint. Except there wasn't one. He just saw me through the window. Said I looked distressed. I dug in my clutch, finding Detective Price's card crumpled between lipstick and my emergency 20. "Gave me this." Lena snatched it, studied it like evidence. "Ethan Price. Sounds like a character from one of those cop shows where they always solve crimes while dealing with their dark past." She handed it back. "He cute?" He looked tired. And real, like someone who's seen actual problems, not just the wrong brand of organic vegetables. "So, yes, he's cute." She clinked her casino glass against my Dora. "2 tired men who see through windows. Now, tell me about the knife." I froze mid-sip. "What? Knife?" "Mia, you've got that look. The same one I had right before I took scissors to all of Jason's lucky boxes. The violence look. Spill." So I told her about standing in my perfect kitchen, holding the knife, imagining things, dark things, sharp things. Lena listened while constructing what she called emergency margaritas, which seemed to be just tequila, with a suggestion of lime. When I finished, she was quiet for exactly 3 seconds. "You know what your problem is?" She settled beside me on the couch, tucking her legs under her like a therapist who'd given up on professional boundaries. "You're having the wrong fantasies." A knife is too quick. He deserves to suffer. Slowly. Publicly. Maybe involving his precious gym equipment. "Lena, I'm just saying there are so many options. Food poisoning, allergic reactions, tragic treadmill accidents." She took a long sip, her eyes getting that dangerous gleam I recognised from when she decided to give herself bangs at 2 a.m. "Have you considered drowning? Very difficult to prove murder with drowning." "You've thought about this." "Every divorced woman has thought about this. We have meetings. There's a newsletter." I laughed. Actually laughed. For the first time since Brad's supporting roles comment. My eyes landed on the mantel, where Sophia stared out from her school photo with Lena's exact expression of skepticism, like the photographer had just tried to sell her essential oils. "She looks just like you when Jason tries to explain his latest scheme," I said. "That's her, 'my father is an idiot, but I'm genetically obligated to love him' face." Lena's expression softened. "She's at my mum's this week." Jason was supposed to have her, but apparently there's a Chia Pet convention in Cleveland that couldn't be missed. "A Chia Pet convention?" That's what he called it. It's probably 3 guys in a Howard Johnson conference room eating stale bagels and discussing sprouting techniques. She refilled our glasses, heavy on the pour. "But enough about my idiot ex. Let's talk about how we're going to destroy Brad. Metaphorically. Probably. Unless..." "Unless what?" She grinned, and in that moment, with mascara-stained cheeks, and Dora the Explorer raising a glass of Scotland's finest, I felt something shift. Something dangerous. Something that tasted like possibility. Unless we come up with something better. 3 drinks in, and the floor had become our new best friend. We'd migrated from the couch to the carpet like we were descending evolutionary stages, sprawled between the coffee table and a basket of unfolded laundry that had become a backrest. "Chairs are for people with their shit together," Lena declared, waving her casino glass at the perfectly good furniture we'd abandoned. "We are not those people. We are floor people now." The Macallan had started to blur the edges of everything. The pain, the humiliation, the line between joking and not joking. My cocktail dress had ridden up to my thighs, but modesty had died somewhere around drink 2, along with my ability to feel my face. "You know what he does?" I said to the ceiling, which had a water stain shaped like Italy. "He times how long I take in the bathroom." Actual timing, with his grandfather's stopwatch. "No." "The silver one?" Click when I go in, click when I come out. Then he mentions if it was longer than average. I rolled my head to look at her. "He has a spreadsheet, Lena, with formulas, standard deviations. That's..." Lena paused, searching for words. "That's serial killer behaviour. That's what they find in the killer's apartment on crime shows. Bathroom, spreadsheets, and skin suits. Last week, I took 11 minutes because I was actually reading the shampoo bottle to avoid going back downstairs, and he asked if I was feeling ill. Suggested more fibre." "Jason sent Sophia a birthday card," Lena countered like we were playing misery poker. 3 months late, for the wrong age. He thought she was turning 8. She's 9. She's been 9 for 6 months, and inside was a coupon for his Chia Pets. Buy 2, get 1 half off. That was her birthday present. A discount on sprouting disappointment. We both stared at the ceiling for a moment, letting the absurdity sink in. Sometimes, I said, my voice dropping to conspiracy levels, I imagine putting Naya in his shampoo. Just a little, just enough for one weird bald spot he can't explain. Right at the crown where he's already paranoid about thinning. Lena snorted so hard tequila came out her nose. That's beautiful. That's art. You know what I dream about? What? Jason being attacked by his own chia pets, like they come alive, start growing into his skin. He becomes a walking chia Jason, sprouts everywhere, can't explain it to anyone. She was laughing now, but it had an edge. He'd try to make it a business opportunity. Living chia suits, the next big thing. Oh God, he would. He absolutely would. He'd go on Shark Tank covered in sprouts. The laughter faded into something else. Something darker and more serious. The Italy-shaped stain on the ceiling seemed to pulse. People slip in showers all the time, I heard myself say. It's statistically very dangerous. All that soap, smooth surfaces, one wrong move. Food poisoning is basically natural causes. Lena's voice had taken on a thoughtful quality. Especially with Brad's delicate stomach. Man probably couldn't handle gas station sushi. He'd never eat gas station anything. But bad oysters from his favourite restaurant. Jason's allergic to shellfish. Not deathly, but enough that his face swells up like a balloon animal. We looked at each other, something crackling in the air between us. We're not actually. Of course not. We're just venting. Theoretically venting. Hypothetically processing trauma through dark humour. Lena suddenly jackknifed up to sitting. Wait! I have something. She crawled towards Sophia's craft corner, a disaster zone of glitter and good intentions. After some rummaging that sent markers rolling everywhere, she emerged victorious with, "Is that a unicorn diary?" Sophia got it for Christmas. Never used it because she said diaries are for people with secrets and she tells me everything. Lena held it up like a trophy. The cover was holographic, shifting between pink and purple with a fat unicorn shooting rainbows from its horn. My Secrets was emblazoned across the front in silver glitter pen. This is too perfect. I sat up, feeling the room spin pleasantly. We're planning murder in a unicorn diary. Alleged murder, hypothetical murder, fantasy murder for therapeutic purposes. Lena grabbed a gel pen that smelled like strawberries. We need categories. She opened to the first page, which had prompts like, "My biggest dream," and "My best friend is." She crossed them out and wrote "The X'd Files" in careful block letters. Category 1, she announced, writing as she talked. Natural causes that aren't that natural. Food poisoning, I supplied immediately. Bathroom accidents. Sudden allergies to things they've never been allergic to before. Category 2, accidents waiting to happen. Gym equipment failures, car troubles, stairs exist for a reason. Category 3, she paused, pen hovering. Creative solutions. Death by PowerPoint, I said, giggling. Bore him to death with his own presentations about quarterly earnings. Organic vegetable uprising, Lena added, writing furiously. The kale finally fights back. Execution by incorrect grammar. He sees a misplaced apostrophe and just aneurysm. Dead. Death by mansplaining. He explains something so hard his head explodes. We were crying with laughter now, falling over each other, the unicorn diary between us catching tears and wine stains. Death by toxic masculinity. Jason challenges someone to a fight and loses immediately. Brad drowns in his own hair gel. Jason's spray tan becomes sentient and seeks revenge. Brad's Tesla develops consciousness and drives him off a cliff. The Chia Pets really do attack. His PowerPoint slides become three-dimensional and crush him. Lena was writing everything down in increasingly chaotic handwriting, the strawberry gel pen leaving glittery trails across rainbow pages. Each suggestion got more ridiculous, more impossible, more perfect. Death by irony, I gasped between laughs. Brad chokes on the words, actually, let me correct you. Jason drowns in a pyramid scheme that's actually shaped like a pyramid. Brad's workout supplements turn him into one giant muscle that can't move. Jason's business cards become sharp and revolt. We filled 3 pages before we could breathe normally again. The unicorn watched us from the cover, judgment-free, keeping our secrets safe behind rainbow lasers and glitter. We should organise this better, Lena said, flipping to a fresh page. Like a real murder plan. I mean, a fake murder plan. A fantasy murder plan for entertainment purposes only. Obviously. Method categories, alibi options, probability of success rated in unicorn stickers. There are unicorn stickers. She pulled out a sheet from the diary's back pocket. Sophia never used them. She said they were too pure for this world. Unlike us, I said, looking at our murder plans surrounded by rainbow borders and motivational quotes like, believe in yourself and dreams come true. We're not impure, Lena corrected, carefully placing a unicorn sticker next to bathroom accidents. We're just temporarily morally flexible for therapeutic reasons. Is that what we're calling it? That's what my therapist would call it if I had a therapist, and if I was stupid enough to tell them about this. We looked at each other over the diary, 2 grown women in our 30s, one in a $1,000 cocktail dress, one in Snitches Get Stitches pajamas, seriously discussing murder in a child's unicorn diary while drinking stolen whiskey. We've lost our minds, I said. Good, Lena replied, raising her glass. They were holding us back anyway. We sat there for a full minute, just staring at the unicorn diary with its pages of impossible murder methods, the strawberry-scented gel pen still leaking slightly onto death by organic vegetable uprising. The laughter had died away, leaving something heavier in the air, like the moment before lightning strikes. Lena picked up the diary, flipping through our handiwork with an expression I'd never seen before. Thoughtful, calculating, almost scientific. The tequila had burned through its silly phase and settled into something more dangerous. You know what would actually work, she said quietly. Unicorn stampede seems unlikely, I said, trying to keep us in safe territory. No, I mean... She set the diary down carefully, like it might explode. Strangers on a train. The Hitchcock film? We talked about this, we're not strangers. No, the concept. 2 strangers meet. Each agrees to kill someone the other person wants dead. Perfect alibi, because there's no connection between killer and victim. She looked at me, and her eyes were steady despite the alcohol. Except we're not strangers. We're better. We're friends with no connection to each other's targets. Targets, not husbands, not exes. Targets. Lena, think about it. I've never officially met Brad. You've seen Jason maybe 3 times, always from a distance. No one would connect us to each other's problems. The word problems hung in the air like a code word for something much darker. You're serious? It wasn't a question. I'm seriously considering being serious. She grabbed the diary again, flipping to a fresh page. When does Brad go to the gym? Every morning at 5 a.m, like clockwork. He says missing a day is for weak people who lack discipline. The words came out automatically before I could stop them. Weights can fall. Treadmills malfunction, saunas are basically death traps waiting to happen. She was writing now, the glittery pen moving fast. And Jason. I don't know Jason's schedule. Bars. Every night from 9 to midnight, trying to network. Thinks he's Don Draper, but he's more like Don Knotts. She drew a rough map. Murphy's on Tuesdays, the Oak on Thursdays, that sports bar on Saturdays. Alcohol poisoning, bar fight, Uber accident. We looked at each other across the diary, two women on the edge of something irreversible. We should practice, Lena said suddenly. Role play. See if we could even pretend to be near them without laughing or vomiting. That's insane. That's preparation. Stand up. Maybe it was the whiskey. Maybe it was the image of Brad's face if someone finally stood up to him. But I stood. Lena transformed instantly. Her shoulders went back, chin lifted to that precise angle Brad maintained, like he was constantly being photographed for LinkedIn. When she spoke, her voice dropped into his particular brand of controlled condescension. Actually, Maggie, that's not how you properly fold a fitted sheet. She had his slight head tilt, the way he looked at me like I was a particularly slow child. Let me explain the correct method, which I learned from a YouTube video, but will present as inherited wisdom from my grandmother. It was devastating. Perfect. I wanted to laugh and cry simultaneously. My turn, I said, shaking off the chill of seeing my husband channeled through my best friend. I thought about Jason, the few times I'd observed him. The slightly hunched shoulders of a man perpetually pitching something, the too wide smile, the hand gestures that seemed practiced in a mirror. Ladies, I began, adding his signature finger guns. Let me tell you about an investment opportunity that's going to revolutionize the way we think about plants. Imagine if your emotional support animal was also a chia pet. Emotional support that grows. Lena clutched her stomach, bending over. Oh God, that's him. That's exactly him. We were both laughing again, but it was different now. Tinged with possibility, with potential, with the understanding that we could do this. We could actually get close to each other's tormentors without anyone suspecting. Something crinkled in my dress pocket as I sat back down. Detective Price's card, wrinkled and slightly damp from my earlier tears. I pulled it out, staring at his name. Or, Lena said, seeing it, you could just call Hot Detective. Have Brad arrested for being a world-class asshole. For what? Being emotionally abusive isn't illegal. Being controlling isn't a crime. Making me feel like nothing is just marriage, apparently. Then we make our own justice. Lena took the card, studied it, then carefully placed it in the diary like a bookmark. Frontier justice. Tequila justice. Unicorn justice. She flipped to a new page, writing The X-Files in elaborate letters, adding subtitle, A Comprehensive Guide to Freedom Through Widowhood. We need real intel, she said, the teacher's daughter in her coming out. Schedules, habits, weaknesses. We spent the next hour creating something between a joke and a plan. Brad's morning routine mapped out with X marks for accident opportunities. The weight rack at 5:15, the sauna at 5:45, the protein shake bar at 6 o'clock. Jason's weekly bar crawl annotated with vulnerable moments. Drunk enough to fight by 11 p.m, always takes the alley shortcut. allergic to shellfish, but forgets when drinking. Rating system, Lena announced, pulling out the unicorn stickers. 5 unicorns means definitely doable. 1 unicorn means requires divine intervention. Gym accident? I suggested. 4 unicorns. Very possible. Happens all the time. She placed 4 careful stickers. Bar fight? 3 unicorns. Jason's mouth would start it, but he's surprisingly good at running away. We rated every possibility, the diary becoming a demented children's book of potential murders. The Macallan bottle was nearly empty now, just amber drops clinging to glass. We should toast, Lena said suddenly, to mark the occasion. What occasion? The birth of the X-Files. The beginning of the end. The moment we stopped being victims. We stood in her tiny kitchen, fluorescent light flickering slightly, making everything feel like a scene from a movie we wouldn't want our children to watch. I was still in my cocktail dress, now wrinkled beyond salvation, barefoot on linoleum that had seen better decades. Lena raised the bottle. To the X-Files, to taking back our lives, to being the ones who shine. 2 options, I added, thinking of her words from days ago. Terrible, illegal, absolutely insane options. To us, Lena finished. To Maggie and Lena, who are definitely not planning anything and are just very drunk and need therapy. We drank the last drop straight from the bottle, passing it between us like a peace pipe or a war declaration. The whiskey burned, but underneath the burn was something else. Determination. Decision. The clicking of a lock we couldn't unpick. My phone buzzed. 2:30 a.m. The numbers seemed impossible. Oh, God. Reality crashed back. Brad sets his alarm for 4:45. He'll check my side of the bed when he gets up. He'll see my car's gone. Uber, Lena commanded, already pulling up the app. You got a migraine after cleaning. Took aspirin PM, passed out hard. Didn't hear him come to bed. He'll know. He'll suspect. But he can't prove anything. Men like Brad need proof, evidence, documentation. She was already calling the car. 3 minutes out. We scrambled, me searching for my shoes, while Lena hid the unicorn diary behind her hair colour samples. Autumn, Sunset, number 4, and Mahogany Dreams, number 17, providing cover for our theoretical crimes. The diary stays here, she said firmly. The exit files are our secret. Our drunk secret that we'll laugh about tomorrow. Right, tomorrow we'll be horrified at ourselves. Absolutely appalled. We're not really going to... I looked at her, my best friend, my partner in imaginary crime, the only person who saw me as more than Brad's disappointing wife. Of course not. We were drunk. It was just therapeutic venting. Therapeutic venting, she repeated. We both knew we were lying. The Uber pulled up, some college kid with dubstep playing too loud, who didn't care why a woman in a cocktail dress was fleeing an apartment complex at 2:33 a.m. Lena hugged me at the door, whispered, "Text me when you're home safe. Use our code." Our code was just sending the pizza emoji, but tonight it felt like spy stuff. The ride home was a blur of streetlights and shame and something else. Anticipation? The houses of Rosewood Heights looked different in the dark, like they were all hiding secrets too. Every perfect lawn could be concealing evidence. Every perfect family could be one bad day from creating an X-file of their own. I had the driver drop me a block away, walked barefoot on the sidewalk carrying my heels, the concrete cold under my feet. Our house loomed in the darkness, all angles and glass and Brad's vision of success. I slipped around back, used the hider key he didn't know I knew about, eased through the door like a thief, or like someone casing the joint for future reference. The house felt different, not like a prison anymore, not like a home either, like a crime scene waiting to happen. I crept upstairs, each step carefully placed to avoid the creaks I'd memorized. Brad was snoring, spread-fished across his side of the bed, mouth open. So vulnerable, so unaware that his wife had just spent 3 hours planning his theoretical death in a unicorn diary. I slipped into the bathroom, changed into pajamas, removed my makeup with shaking hands. In the mirror, I looked different. Same face, same smeared mascara, but something had shifted behind my eyes. "We're not really going to do it," I told my reflection. My reflection didn't look convinced. I slid into bed at 3:03 a.m., careful not to disturb Brad's perfect sleeping position. In 6 hours, he'd wake me with criticism disguised as concern. In 12 hours, I'd pretend everything was normal. In 24 hours, Lena and I would laugh about our drunken plans. But lying there in the dark, the taste of $400 whiskey and revolution still on my tongue, I knew the truth. The X-Files weren't just a joke anymore. They were an option. And for the first time in 7 years, I fell asleep smiling.